This is a brief segment, and this is a fellow I met at the Skull World Forum a couple years ago. I met his partner, Bart Wegens, a year before that at the Social Innovation Summit. And you know what? What they do is so, I don't know, crazy. I'm not even going to try to explain. I'm going to let Charlie do it. Charlie.
Hi, so would you believe that this beautiful animal, the African giant pouch rat, is part of the reason that Mozambique declared itself landmine-free several years before expected? Well, believe it, because it's true. The mine detection rat was actually the brainchild of Bart Wegens, a Belgian product designer who had a deep appreciation for both rodents. He trained them and bred them growing up, but also Africa. And when Princess Di made her call to action in the 90s to find new mine detection technologies, Bart partnered up with the University of Antwerp. And in 2004, the first mine detection rat was sent to Mozambique. And here you can see a mine detection rat hard at work in Mozambique. They're trained through behavioral reinforcement, much like a mine detection dog or an explosive detection dog in the airport would be, to sniff out TNT and landmines. And working this way, they can detect landmines 50 times quicker than the conventional method, which is a human using a metal detector. And Apopo's internal data has shown that they are also more cost-effective than dogs, particularly in rural areas where transporting and maintaining dogs is very challenging. Now, working this way, Apopo was able to become the preferred mine action partner of the Mozambican government over much larger and better funded NGOs, something we're very proud of. And I know because everyone in this room is probably thinking we're just sitting there chucking rats out on the minefield and watching them blow up. I want to assure you that we actually take animal welfare very, very seriously. Not only is it in the DNA of our founder, Bart, who, as I said, was a rodent lover, but we actually have a booming public fundraising program that you wouldn't believe how many crazy rodent lovers there are out there that like to fund us. So we take it very seriously. They're far too light to set up a landmine. They're only 2 kilos, and you need to be around 10 kilos to blow up. So what's going on? Oh, I think can you cue the video, please? So this is a video that Nicholas Christoph made about our mine detection rats that should give you guys a better sense of everything.
Meet a Gambian pouched rat. He's also been dubbed a hero rat because these guys are being groomed to save lives. They're almost blind but have a keen sense of smell. So they've been trained to sniff out landmines. They can also be trained to diagnose tuberculosis through smell, much more quickly and accurately than human lab technicians can with a microscope. I'm here in a minefield in rural Angola, a country decimated by 3 decades of civil war. Normally, landmine detection is painstakingly slow. It's done with metal detectors that constantly sound false alarms from scraps of metal like empty bullet casings or nails. Each time, the earth must be carefully brushed away. But rats can scramble through the minefield, and they respond only to the scent of explosives. In 2 hours, they can clear land that would take a human days to clear.
The rats already cleared maybe 400 square feet in just a few minutes, and it works for bananas.
The rats themselves are too light to set off the landmines.
I think the rat has maybe detected something. If he thinks it's TNT, he'll scratch the ground for a little bit. That area will be marked for further investigation. So that's the signal.
Alfredo Adamo is a field supervisor here, and he knows firsthand the toll of landmines. His grandfather lost a leg to a mine.
There are areas now that there are schools, and there are houses, and there are farms where we worked. And when I pass by and see all these things, I feel proud.
And now farmers have access to land that was once too treacherous to farm. Hero rats reflect a revolution in humanitarian aid. Organizations are applying new approaches to old problems, hugely amplifying their impact. So bravo to the innovators, and to these giant rats saving human lives.
This is the areas, right now we are working in Angola and Cambodia as the Mozambique program is finished up. There's still some residual tasks there. But we're also hoping to get into Zimbabwe. We just signed an MOU this week, and we should be transferring all of the assets we have from Mozambique over there, so we should have a great program there. As well into Colombia, where we're negotiating with the military to provide them mine detection rats directly, particularly as the peace process happens. All of these countries have similar landmine layout situations that Mozambique did, which is why we're focusing our efforts there, because we think the rats can add so much value. We're also starting to explore working in Burma, which is still not really too advanced in the peace process, but once it is, we want to be well established there so we can really get working. And here's a bit of a clip of our TB detection rats. Sorry. Can you cue the video, please? At work. And you'll see the rat goes up and down a specially designed line cage. In those bars are actually human sputum, which is the traditional way that you diagnose TB. And a rat working like this can work 50 times faster than a human technician with a microscope. And you'll see the indication. It's a lot like the mine indication when he finds the TB sample. So there it is. And once again, only working for peanuts or mashed bananas probably there. So working in this way, Apopo can screen TB samples so fast. And there's a huge problem in mega cities in the developing world where they're missing at least 50% of the actual TB cases that are presented to the clinics. And Apopo, taking we send out motorbikes every day to every clinic in Maputo and Dar es Salaam. We collect the samples, our rats rescreen them, and within the same day we can reconfirm them by much more expensive technology than exists at the clinics, but in a much quicker and more professional manner. And we increase case detection by 45% working in this way, in a very cost-effective way as well. We're also currently working with USAID to see if rats can be used for active case finding. Now, TB, there's a problem of the diagnosis in the clinics, but there's also the problem of a lot of people never even go to the clinics to diagnose. You need to go, get their sputum, collect it, and screen them. And because the rats are so fast, one variable screen is so cheap, we think they're going to be game-changing in this area. So we have big ambitions for our TB program. To date, we've screened about 120,000 people, found an additional 10,000 patients, and halted between 50 and 100,000 infections according to WHO guidelines. But in the future, we think that we can, by 2026, screen at least 3 million people, find an additional 150,000 infections, and stop between an additional, or find an additional, and then stop in 750 to 1.5 million new infections through this process. This will be particularly buoyed by the fact if the USAID project goes well. So what's next for the rats? Cancer, potentially, or neurological detection. Apopo wants to transition into a true social enterprise, a hybrid social enterprise with both a for-profit and non-profit wing, that hopefully the for-profit wing can help support the non-for-profit applications in the developing world. And we're very excited about both cancer and neurological disease, mainly because we want to unlock the massive potential of the speedy 35-cent rat screen. Now, if you look at what we're doing in mine detection or TB detection, we have a lot of extra costs on the side. It's a humanitarian field. You have to bring all the mine detection equipment. You have to collect all the samples. You have to reconfirm them. But say if we can improve rat accuracy and that they can detect either Alzheimer's or cancer in a fast way, we can literally just set up a rat screening center next to something like a Quest Diagnostics or another big laboratory. And even if the costs are a bit higher than 35 cents because we're in the US, you know, even if they're $2 and we're charging $10 a screen, you can imagine the profit potential there. We would want to fit into existing medical protocols, which is why we'll probably be looking to test urine or blood, which are samples that are already taken on a typical physical. Neurology detection, we're actually already working with some Harvard neurologists that, particularly for Alzheimer's, the only way to diagnose it now is very expensive PET scans. And there's anecdotal evidence. There's actually a woman in England who sniffed out 50 of 50 Alzheimer's patients through their T-shirts. And there's also more scientifically sound evidence that there's unique smells to it. So, you know, we're excited if the Harvard researchers say if we show a good initial accuracy in a smaller pilot study, they'll let us piggyback onto a larger study. And so that's very exciting. Cancer is a massive market. If you could improve over existing algorithms in the US, we would have a real role to play. We're still a bit less advanced in that because there's so many areas we could go, but we're working with a consultant to do a death study to see what is the right cancer and where. And also, we really want to set up an operational research center in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where, believe it or not, besides Bart, the most influential rat training guru in the world lives. He's a professor at Western Michigan University. And there we could do a lot of operational and behavioral research that we think, particularly for our medical detection rats, could raise accuracy by anywhere from 20 to 50%. So it's very, very exciting, this possibility. We also think by having a research center in the US, you know, there might be additional projects that come to us. Of course, working in Tanzania is often a hard thing for people to want to do. And to make this happen, you know, we're just developing the whole concept, but we would need around $1 million. You know, we're all coming from the nonprofit world at Apopo, and from the kin community today, I'm very honored to be here from a small rat NGO that's based in Tanzania. But you guys have a wealth of entrepreneurial and innovation experience, and we already have some funders in mind, but I would just love to have conversations with people who could tell me what you need to do and not do in a pitch with, you know, hybrid investors or just for-profit regular venture capitalist investors. So thank you so much.
Charlie, thanks a lot. Let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
How did you, I mean, when you were coming out of school, did you go to the recruiting, you know, and said, hey, I want to work with rats? I mean, how'd you get into this?
To be honest, and hopefully this is off the record, I'm not a huge rat lover myself at all.
Oh boy.
I grew up in DC in the subway, so.
First bit of advice.
Yeah.
First bit of advice when you're pitching investors, you are now a passionate rat lover.
Exactly.
It's all about passion.
I honestly just, I think it's an amazing tool. If you really get down to it, they're mini scent detection dogs that are way cheaper. And in something like medical applications, they make a lot more sense. I was also a Peace Corps volunteer who worked in Niger, and I really saw Apopo as a potential of reversing the World Economic Order, and that maybe over the long term we can bring this refined solution over from Africa to the US for a change to make a difference here. And that, to me, was very attractive. I kind of found them by chance, to be honest. Right. But I also had worked in government contracting, and we have all these USAID contracts. Right. So it made sense.
Charlie, I'm going to throw a new word out for you. What happened was not chance, it was synchronicity.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
It was
Robert.
great. It was great. The mine detection rat. Boy, if I had titled the segment that, how many of you would be sitting in your seats? New paradigms, new questions, new approaches to old problems, 50 times more accurate than what currently exists. And how many times have we passed that rat by or more and not recognized the opportunity in front of us?